What are you dancing to at the moment?
Sorry, I was listening to the, just rocking out to Mr. Cardamom, a.k.a. Zoran Mandavi. Yes, the great rapper of yesteryear. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Yes, Mandavi is not only a weight loss drug, but it's also the incoming mayor, most probably, of New York City. Yes, he has quite a few, like you're trying to get to before I disturb you, quite a few celebrity backers, right? He's got Emily Ratajkowski. The woman made herself famous while she was naked in a video. Lorde, who's your neck of the woods. She makes great music.
Yes, New Zealand.
Person. Absolutely. And the aforementioned Cynthia Nixon. Oh, Cynthia Nixon, just quick aside, that when I had my daughter, she was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, we were at the park one day and she was holding her string cheese and looking at it, about to have her lunch. That was her food. Cynthia Nixon's son ran up to her, grabbed the cheese stick, laughed, and ran away and ate it. As Cynthia Nixon was laughing and said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll get you next time." No, Cynthia, I got you this time. Look, Cynthia Nixon is a horrible person. That son who stole my daughter's cheese stick, this is somebody who she calls an observant Jew. That's kind of like I'm an observant Zoroastrian. This is somebody who spent time in a hunger strike against the genocide in Israel. Notably, the hunger strike lasted 5 days, but he only can make 2 days. Also a member of JVP, Jewish Voice for Peace, who I've interviewed, complete and total supporters of Hamas. So yeah, that's kind of Cynthia Nixon. But this tracks with Mandavi. Mandavi is he has said his own words. He wants to globalize the Intifada. Well, you know what the Intifada? Let's take it 1 second here. The Intifada was a series of uprising against Israel, which was a series of terrorist attacks, which killed hundreds and hundreds of Israeli civilians. He wants to globalize this. He's the founding member of one of the chapters of SJP, Students for Justice of Palestine, who are open Hamas supporters against people that I have interviewed. Look, he has openly called for the genocide of Israel, right? He doesn't shy away from that at all. And, you know, even more disgusting than that is he sent out a series of robocalls. And I was sitting at a baseball game with my cousin when he got one of these robocalls. And my cousin didn't know, thought he was interacting with somebody who actually worked for the campaign. He said, "Look, I'm worried. I'm a Jew. I can't vote for Mandavi." And then in a sick, twisted way, this robocall said, "I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I had a friend who died in October 7th. They actually weaponized and took the cruel murder of civilians for a weird, horrible political win." I mean, this is Cynthia Nixon. This is Mandavi.
Well, Mamdani did particularly well, it has to be said, with young voters, affluent voters. Low-income voters didn't really back him, but college-educated, affluent voters did back him. That's got to be a concern. But I'm interested to get your take on what President Donald Trump has had to say about this. After his big win in New York's Democratic mayoral primary, Trump wrote, "Democrats have crossed the line by elevating a 100% communist lunatic." He also added, "We've had radical lefties before, but this is getting a little ridiculous." But, Ami, this is the modern left in America. The Democrats' loudest voices are AOC and Bernie and Jasmine Crockett, and now this guy who could be leading NYC.
Oh, God. Who would have imagined I'd be pining for the days of Bill de Blasio? Yeah, look, this, you know, I remember we would have a series of discussions, you and I, after the election, right? In what direction are the Democrats going to go? Well, it seemed like they picked their lane, right? They really did. Look, Zoran Mandavi is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Now, the DSA, this is not some like watered down version of like social democrats in Europe, right? These are not the Finnish politicians on bikes. These are hardcore Marxists. Let me read you a list of the affiliations of the DSA. It's important for you to read this. The DSA, this is from their website, is a multi-tendency coalition, don't know what that is, of Marxist Leninists, Trotskyists, eco-socialists, Orthodox Marxism, as opposed to reform Marxism, evolutionary socialism, socialist feminism, and eco-socialism, or simply crazy people. Now they can add to that list global jihadists, because that's exactly what they have. Look, he's calling for state-run groceries, right? A state-run grocery? Look, this is why ask the people in bread lines from the Soviet Union time, or now currently in Venezuela, what they think of state-run groceries, okay? By the way, state-run groceries, he wants no profit margin. They run a 1% to 2% profit margin. That's the profit margin he wants to get rid of and have absolutely no food whatsoever. He's called for having no fee for transportation. Get in the subway, get in the bus, no problem at all. I remember just recently on that same Yankee game I was talking about, I was in a subway that stopped for about 15 minutes. And this woman said to me, you know, that's why I don't pay for the subway. I don't pay, I hop the thing that stops you, that makes you pay, because this is what we get. I go, no. The reason why we're stopped for 15 minutes is because you don't pay for the subway. He wants to make that across New York City. This guy is a legitimate crazy person, and now New York is poised to elect him the mayor of the city.
To NATO now, Ami, and President Donald Trump shared a touching moment with a Ukrainian woman, a journalist, who asked him a question during the NATO press conference. Let's have a look.
Me with the kids, I'm in Warsaw actually, because he wanted me to be.
Is your husband a soldier? No?
He's
there now?
Yeah.
Wow, that's rough stuff, right? That's tough. And you're living here?
In Warsaw.
And you're a reporter?
I am.
Good. So let me just tell you, they do want to have the missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available.
Ami, that's the side of the president we don't always see.
No, that's true. Look, he really does feel for the people of Ukraine. I mean, again, you know, it's so funny. It makes me think back to this whole Russiagate thing, right? Remember, the Democrats planted their flag on that. They were going to die on the hill that he was a Russian mole. He was a cat's paw for Putin. I noticed that Russia invaded Ukraine twice, once under Obama and once under Biden. Didn't invade it under Trump. Trump has no love for Putin. Trump has no love for Russia. He does want this to end, though, because there is a massive amount of killings. Both sides are dying, right? Clearly, one side is in the wrong and one side is in the right. I'm not trying to equate the two. But there's no question that young people are dying in Russia, but in particularly in Ukraine. And right there, you saw the affection he had for Ukrainians and the way he felt for the people who are fighting for their freedom and fighting against Russian tyranny.
And before you go, he was also referred to as Daddy during this NATO press conference.
Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you Daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
Well, Trump was playing the role of Daddy earlier in the week, it's got to be said, and he wasn't very happy. He was an angry Daddy.
Yeah, just wait till Daddy gets home, man. Oh, God, I remember those words, and we're telling NATO those words also. Look, he really has transformed NATO. Do you remember the days when he said, I'm going to leave NATO, and everybody's like, oh, my God, he's crazy. He wants to leave NATO. Yeah, look, 6 out of 31 countries prior to Trump did not hit the 2% threshold they legally were supposed to hit. And since he became president, the first time, not even now, the first time, because of that threat, the vast majority of NATO countries are at that spending threshold. Finally, we're not paying for NATO's defense totally. So, yeah, he kind of is their daddy. And by the way, he's not disliked by the heads of NATO. Mark Rutte, the current head of NATO, is the one who called him daddy. And Stoltenberg, before him, praised him over and over again that he was able to get these intransigent European countries to finally pay up. So, yeah, Daddy made it work.
Ami Horowitz, thank you so much for your time tonight.